woman wanted her royalty, and then suddenly, exactly like Whitney Houston, accident. She's the only one who passed away. Everyone else is fine.
Yeah. I ain't buying it. I'm not buying the fact that can't nobody see that this looks like exactly what I believe it is, allegedly a sacrifice. I can't believe that people are having a hard time understanding that his father was gobbled up by the Illuminati.
Have you ever wondered why certain voices in the music industry seem to vanish right at the moment they speak out against powerful forces? The sudden loss of Angie Stone has left fans and insiders with 1,000 questions. Questions made even more unsettling by Jaguar Wright's recent claims that Angie's passing was no mere accident. If you've followed Jaguar's revelations before, you already know she's never afraid to pull back the curtain on the dark side of the industry. Now, she's pointing a spotlight on Angie's final days and insisting there's something far more sinister lurking beneath the surface. Could it be that Angie Stone was unalived by the very people who once profited from her talent? Or is this all just a chilling coincidence? As we dig deeper, you might find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew. Angie Stone's story begins in a tight-knit community in Columbia, South Carolina, where gospel music wasn't just a Sunday ritual, but a way of life. She was born on December 18, 1961, and raised in a household defined by both unwavering faith and an appreciation for soul-stirring music. Her father, a devout member of a local gospel quartet, exposed her to legendary groups such as the Singing Angels and the Gospel Keynotes.
That one of the biggest companies that I was with, Universal Music. It's the second part of the ugly truth. We began to research things to check on my royalties and my statements and things that of that nature, only to find out a lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen. As I begin to find out things that I never had to look into, because when you hire a team of people that to some degree supposed to have your back, you're thinking that they're getting it all together for you. You know, that's why, you know, I respect Oprah Winfrey in that respect when she said, do your own research. Just stoned the celebrity that I let a lot of important things slip through the cracks only because I didn't know any better. I worked very hard to take care of my kids as a single mother, and I'm being transparent. My kids' fathers just were not doing what they're supposed to do. So I had to step up and go in and do everything that I needed to do for my family, which is why I worked so hard, which is why I traveled so much, which is why I did shows, because at the end of the day, after 40-something years in the business, I'm like, well, why? Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. They've taken pretty much everything. They've stolen, I won't say stolen, but they have taken all the monies that were due to me. They have basically absorbed in that company. And even though there's several class action lawsuits, people that were working on my behalf never even registered the songs. All the songs that I've done, I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to. People that were supposed to do their due diligence. So I am truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time. Because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people that have been driving the ships. And what they've been doing is improperly representing me, improperly stealing from me, taking things in their own hand, changing and switching lanes because they knew I didn't know that part. See, I'm not an attorney. I don't know everything. What I learned how to do was go out, work hard, get paid, come home, pay my bills, take care of my family. That part. The legal side, when you hire attorneys and managers and agents, they're supposed to make sure the gray area over there that they're in the driver's seat for, they're supposed to make sure you're taken care of. And even though they were taking care of themselves, they thought very little of taking care of me. And I know because I've seen it with my own eyes. So I'm just here to let you know, one way or the other, Universal Music, you're going to have to give up my coins.
Week after week, Angie was immersed in these dynamic performances where voices soared and hearts were lifted in praise. From a young age, she developed a deep sense of spiritual connection to music. Standing in the choir loft at First Nazareth Baptist Church, she poured her heart into every note. The congregation heard something special, a young girl whose voice carried an innate soulfulness well beyond her years. These early experiences formed the bedrock of Angie's vocal style, which later evolved into a sophisticated blend of gospel, soul, and R&B. But the church was more than just a performance stage. It was a training ground for her future stardom. She learned discipline, vocal control, and stage presence, often singing beside older choir members who took notice of her raw talent. Even as a teenager, Angie displayed a maturity that set her apart, a quiet determination to share the gift she'd been given. Family, faith, and music were so entangled in her upbringing that it felt like destiny for her to chase a career in the arts. And chase it she did, but no one could have predicted how quickly she'd break new ground as a trailblazing figure in hip-hop. By the time Angie turned 16, she was already leaving her mark on a brand new musical frontier. She teamed up with Cheryl the Pearl Cook and Gwendolyn Blondie Chisholm to form The Sequence, the first all-female hip-hop group to secure a recording deal. Signed to the legendary Sugar Hill Records, they didn't waste time making waves. Their hit, Funk You Up, wasn't just popular, it became a foundational piece for future chart toppers. Dr. Dre sampled its unmistakable vibe, and it even influenced Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars. However, for all its success, Funk You Up represented the start of a pattern that would follow Angie for years. She was instrumental in creating something iconic, yet she and her group often didn't receive the recognition or financial benefits they deserved. The Sequence later sued Mark Ronson for copyright infringement, hoping to reclaim at least some of what was owed to them. This exposed a music industry where female pioneers were often overlooked or blatantly disregarded when it came to credit and royalties. Still, Angie refused to let the system break her spirit. She pressed on, diving deeper into collaborations with other emerging artists. She briefly joined the hip-hop and electro-funk group Mantronix, honing her craft in an environment that demanded constant innovation. Over time, these experiences shaped her into a versatile, resilient artist, one who had already seen the uglier side of the music business before most of her peers could even spell royalties. But the challenges were just beginning. After navigating the male-dominated waters of early hip-hop, Angie discovered a new path that let her explore her passion for smoother, more melodic tracks. She joined Vertical Hold, where she found modest success with R&B fans through songs like Seems You're Much Too Busy. Yet, true breakthrough came when she ventured into the neo-soul scene. With her distinct, rich voice and skillful songwriting, she became one of the genre's founding mothers, standing alongside names like Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, and Maxwell. It wasn't just her own voice that people fell in love with. Angie had an ear for blending influences. She collaborated with legends such as Prince and Lenny Kravitz, pushing her vocal and creative boundaries. Prince, known for recognizing unique talent, appreciated Angie's skill not only as a singer, but also as a writer. Lenny Kravitz invited her to play saxophone, an instrument she had been practicing on the side. The synergy was unstoppable. Multiple genres, multiple styles, all converging in a single artist. Throughout this era, Angie's songs like No More Rain in This Cloud and I Wish I Didn't Miss You solidified her position as a core voice in the neo-soul revolution. Fans adored her for her down-to-earth vibe and her ability to pour heartfelt stories into her lyrics. But while Angie was lighting up the charts and influencing others, simmering tensions behind the scenes hinted at the turbulence yet to come. Possibly the most underappreciated chapter of Angie's career was her behind-the-scenes work that shaped other artists' sounds. She had a massive impact on D'Angelo's first two albums, Brown Sugar and Voodoo, co-writing and arranging vocals that helped these records become defining cornerstones of neo-soul. While the albums catapulted D'Angelo to stardom, Angie's crucial role often went unmentioned. She wasn't just a featured vocalist, she was deeply entwined in the creative process. Their romantic relationship added another layer to the story, though it eventually turned toxic. According to some sources, D'Angelo's ego and the pressure from massive success overshadowed Angie's vital contributions. She walked away feeling disrespected, and even fans could see that her name didn't get the level of credit many believed it deserved. This wasn't an isolated incident. Angie shared her disappointment when Mary J. Blige released a track called Paradise, which Angie claimed was originally co-written as Every Day with D'Angelo. Instead of receiving co-writing recognition, Angie was left on the sidelines, yet again. This repeated pattern of seeing her creative fingerprint on major hits without her name officially attached caused deep frustration. Adding to the fire, Jill Scott's label allegedly directed Jill to study Angie's style, from the way she spoke to her fashion choices. Then, an even more personal blow, a management mishap that led Jill Scott to land a coveted acting role Angie was initially slated for. Throughout these betrayals, one common thread persisted. Angie's management and label representatives were either incompetent or simply chose not to protect her interests. And as Angie's career soared, certain parties were benefiting, financially and otherwise, from her talent. She was pushing boundaries and elevating genres, but it seemed like everyone else was reaping the rewards. After decades of putting her head down and grinding through, Angie Stone decided enough was enough. She started publicly calling out Universal Music Group, UMG, for long-standing issues with unpaid royalties. In videos circulating online, Angie appeared both frustrated and resolute, detailing how she discovered that millions of dollars worth of royalties and publishing might never have been properly registered in her name. She blamed the people she'd hired, managers, agents, attorneys, for failing to track her earnings, renegotiate her contracts, or even register the songs she'd worked on. To her dismay, Angie found out that corporate giants like UMG were still collecting money tied to her work, often without funneling a fair share back to her. In some instances, it seemed like purposeful misrepresentation. In others, it looked more like negligence. Either way, Angie was done being a quiet bystander. Her testimony painted a heartbreaking picture. A single mother working tirelessly for decades, only to discover that her nest egg was practically empty because of behind-the-scenes deals she had never signed off on. She told fans that she should have been able to retire comfortably years ago, but was forced to keep touring and making appearances just to pay the bills. Unwilling to remain silent, she made it clear she intended to take legal action. For many onlookers, it was a watershed moment. Angie was about to become a significant thorn in the side of one of the most powerful music entities on the planet. And then came the tragedy. The car crash that claimed Angie Stone's life left fans reeling. Out of everyone involved, she was the only fatality, a fact that fueled endless speculation on social media. People questioned how a woman with such resilience and tenacity could meet such an abrupt end, and the timing was suspect. In the weeks leading up to her death, Angie had been more vocal than ever about confronting UMG. Some started to wonder if there was a connection between her outspoken stance and the crash. Moreover, rumors emerged suggesting that Angie might have been unalived before the crash actually occurred. The details of the accident were sparse, and the official story seemed to lack clarity. Could it be a tragic twist of fate, or was it something orchestrated? Considering the music industry's track record of bizarre, high-profile losses, where certain stars die under mysterious circumstances right when they're on the verge of exposing hidden truths, this prompted some to look closer. A handful of fans and bloggers pointed out that the music industry has had its fair share of unsettling incidents. Artists who call out powerful executives sometimes find themselves caught in dark entanglements. With Angie's sudden death, theories of foul play took root, and the narrative that she might have been silenced started gaining traction. Some believed her legal battle threatened to reveal damaging secrets, while others insisted it was a random coincidence. Yet, the more you dig into stories of artists who go up against corporate giants, the less random everything begins to feel. Jaguar Wright is no stranger to controversy. She's built a reputation by naming names and accusing major players in the music world of some shocking misdeeds. So when she spoke up about Angie Stone's death, people paid attention. Jaguar claimed that Angie was unalived by industry power brokers, terrified of what she might reveal in a courtroom. According to Jaguar, these hidden forces operate like a machine. They siphon off an artist's earnings for years, and if that artist dares to push for transparency, the machine crushes them. In her statements, Jaguar connected Angie's tragedy to a broader pattern involving other artists she believes were similarly targeted. She mentioned figures like Aaron Carter, hinting at how people who publicly challenge the system or demand their unpaid earnings often end up in dire situations. Jaguar even alleged that after Angie's passing, certain individuals moved quickly to shape the narrative, encouraging the public to accept the official accident story without probing too deeply into the details. Skeptics, of course, say Jaguar's claims verge on conspiratorial fantasy, but her track record of revealing behind-the-scenes drama, often corroborated by leaked documents or secondary sources, gives pause. The question is, can Jaguar's statements be entirely dismissed if they reflect a reality many artists have whispered about for decades? The fear of blacklisting or worse keeps many from speaking out. Could Angie's situation be the most chilling example of that phenomenon? That's what Jaguar suggests, and it has left people torn between skepticism and growing belief. The music business has long been criticized for its opaque contract structures, powerful legal teams, and executives who can make or break careers with a single decision. Artists have historically faced a steep uphill battle to reclaim royalties, renegotiate unfair contracts, or even exit exploitative deals. The notion that a successful artist like Angie Stone, who shaped entire genres, would struggle financially points to systemic issues. When Angie's death is positioned against this backdrop, it raises uncomfortable questions about how far these powers might go to protect their interests. Some recall stories of artists in the past, Sam Cooke, Lisa Left Eye Lopes, Michael Jackson, whose passings led to unending rumors and speculation. While every case differs, there's a pattern in the way unanswered questions linger, fueling the idea that maybe some events aren't as straightforward as they're made out to be. In Angie's case, the heartbreak is compounded by the knowledge that she was publicly drawing attention to those very power structures, calling them out by name. She had the receipts, she had the will, and she was prepared to stake her entire reputation on exposing a system that many fans suspect thrives on deception. Whether or not Jaguar's claims are valid, they highlight a persistent concern. The industry might be capable of more than we dare imagine. The music business has long been criticized for its opaque contract structures, powerful legal teams, and executives who can make or break careers with a single decision. Artists have historically faced a steep uphill battle to reclaim royalties, renegotiate unfair contracts, or even exit exploitative deals. The notion that a successful artist like Angie Stone, who shaped entire genres, would struggle financially points to systemic issues. When Angie's death is positioned against this backdrop, it raises uncomfortable questions about how far these powers might go to protect their interests. Some recall stories of artists in the past, Sam Cooke, Lisa Left Eye Lopes, Michael Jackson, whose passings led to unending rumors and speculation. While every case differs, there's a pattern in the way unanswered questions linger, fueling the idea that maybe some events aren't as straightforward as they're made out to be. In Angie's case, the heartbreak is compounded by the knowledge that she was publicly drawing attention to those very power structures, calling them out by name. She had the receipts, she had the will, and she was prepared to stake her entire reputation on exposing a system that many fans suspect thrives on deception. Whether or not Jaguar's claims are valid, they highlight a persistent concern. The industry might be capable of more than we dare imagine.